All right. I hope everyone is going. I mean, I hope everyone is doing good. And there's a big game today, crucial game today for Tottenham versus Wolves. And I was looking at the percentage in the poly market over here. And as you can see, Wolverhampton Wanderers FC versus Tottenham. Can Deserbi get his first win as a Tottenham coach? As you can see, they have really good percentage. They have 60% prediction to win to win this game. As you know, yesterday Nottingham Forest won against Tottenham. Sorry, not Tottenham, but Sunderland. It was 5-1. That game was crazy. I wasn't expecting Nottingham Forest to go like that. So pretty much 8 points from relegation, and then 5 points behind West Ham. And you know, West Ham today they are playing against Everton at home. So if they win that game, and then Wolves, you know, they are already relegated. So if they go down, they might go down with Tottenham. So I'm looking at the lineup too. The lineup for Tottenham: Spence, Van der Ven. I don't think if Van der Ven is going to stay if Tottenham gets relegated. A lot of teams, they're going to go after him. He's fast, he's strong, but you know, he's not that crazy good defender. But as a defender, if you sign up, a defender who is very fast, that is really good, you know. Danso was good actually in Denmark. I don't know what happened to him. He was really good. I loved the way he defended whenever he. Austria. Sorry, not Denmark. Austria. So, and then Porro. I know Porro. Also, he might leave if Tottenham goes down. Bentancur, I've never rated Bentancur. You know, I've watched Bentancur when he was Juventus. You know, I'm a Juve fan too, so he's not that good player. He gets a lot of yellow cards. He makes a lot of stupid mistakes. And then I don't know how I can call this guy Gallagher. You know, as a Chelsea fan, he went to Tottenham after he played in Atletico Madrid. Now he's playing for Tottenham. He made a big mistake going to Tottenham. And then Simeone, and then Basuma. I think Basuma too. He might leave if Tottenham goes down. And then Colomwani, and then Solanke. So this is the lineup. Tottenham's lineup, really crazy. It looks good actually, but in the game wise, whenever they play the game, they don't look really solid. So the game has already started, and I just wanted to show you. Oh, this player over here, his name is Mane. This guy, I would love to see this guy going to another team. He is really good. Mane, he's amazing player. So I think people will go for him. Mane is really good player. This guy over here, Matthias Mane. So literally 18 years old. So he's good. He's good. So the game has already started, as you can see. The prediction or the percentage that Tottenham is going to win the game, they have 59. That is like a must win, and actually today's game is a must win. So I'm not promoting any betting, but I always use this platform just to look at the predictions and stuff like that. So the game has already started. Tottenham versus Wolverhampton, 2 minutes, and I'm going to put commentating on. Commentate or something like that. Have a good day and enjoy the game.
Gallagher goes down following an aerial duel, just striking the face of Conor Gallagher. So correct decision from the referee. 3 minutes played, still 0-0 between Wolves and Tottenham, but Tottenham have themselves a free kick which they can certainly use to cause some problems for what is a pretty frail Wolves defence. They've conceded 61 goals in the Premier League this season, Wolves. Only Burnley have conceded more. It's going to be Pedro Porro who takes this free kick about 40 yards from goal in the right of central area. Whips it into the box. It's headed across and it's almost met by Dominic Solanke, although there are shouts for a penalty in the Tottenham camp. Dominic Solanke suggesting that he might have been pushed over as he tried to make the header. It was a lovely header across goal by Kevin Danso. And was there a push in the back on Solanke? Well, there is a bit of contact. I'm not sure personally if that's enough for a penalty to be awarded. And it is a goal kick to the home side. Not even reviewed by VAR, that incident. Well, Dominic Solanke, 3 goals in the Premier League this season. He did have an ankle injury at the start of the season, so he's only actually played now 15 games in the top flight. Good bit of trickery from Jed Spence. He is upended, but the ball ricochets to Xavi Simons. He's then fouled, but it's another advantage played by Anthony Taylor. Conor Gallagher goes to Spence. He plays the ball inside to Simons. Now Bentancur to Spence. He's inside the Wolves box. He's well marshalled by Matt Doherty. But Tottenham do have themselves a corner on the left-hand side. Well, it's a shoulder-to-shoulder between Spence and Doherty, and it forced Spence down on the ground, and the ball then came off the Irish defender. So Tottenham starting with plenty of purpose. 5.5 minutes played. Game is goalless. Xavi Simons is going to take this corner. He goes short to Porro, and he'll whip it into the middle. It's punched away by Jose Sarr. Ball is going to be collected by Ipasuma. Goes back to Spence, who's now on the right-hand side. Tries to dink a ball forward to Gallagher, but he loses the aerial duel. Totti is a bit too casual on the ball, and he has it pinched off him. All the noise you can hear at the moment is from the travelling Spurs fans. And what was a very shiny Molineux, sun beating down on the pitch. Tottenham have certainly looked the better side. That's a good ball inside by Danso to Solanke. Just came at an awkward height for the striker, and the ball rebounded off his shoulder and out for a goal kick to Wolves. I'm sure if goals are an issue for Spurs, a bit further down the line, we'll see Richarlison make his way onto the pitch. 9 goals in the Premier League this season for the Brazilian. Jose Sarr goes long with his goal kick. Header won by Danso. Nearest man to him was actually Ipasuma. Solanke wins the ball on the halfway line and sets Randall Kolomuani away on the right flank. He's well challenged by Totti. Another corner to Tottenham, this time on the right-hand side. It looked like Kolomuani had got the run on the Wolves defender, but Totti managed to stick out his long left leg and blast the ball behind for a corner as he made the tackle. Simons will take this set piece. In fact, Tottenham have been quite fruitful from corners. 14 goals from corners in the Premier League this season. Only Arsenal have bettered them on that front. Simons delivers the ball into the box, but the referee has spotted an infringement and Wolves have a free kick. I think it was Kevin Danso who was penalised for a foul. In all honesty, I didn't really see the incident because you've got all sorts of grappling going on whenever there's a set piece in an attacking area. So Jose Sarr is going to go long with this goal kick. Pulled up during the warm-up before Wolves lost 3-0 at Leeds last Saturday. Dan Bentley deputising for him, but Sarr is the number one. And he will be looking to get into the Portugal squad for the upcoming World Cup this summer. He was called up during the last international break. Wolves now have the ball in Spurs' half. Adam Armstrong has strayed out right, passes the ball back to Dirty, then goes back to Santiago Bueno. Now Totti has the ball in the centre circle and goes left to Hugo Bueno. No relation, by the way, between Santiago and Hugo Bueno. Spurs have it back, although as I say that they immediately lose it. An early pass played forward to Armstrong, who plays a 1-2 of Rodrigo Gomez, who then slips, and that's invitation for Xavi Simons to go on a run. Just held up and is forced to go back to Bissouma in the centre circle. Simons scored a thunderous goal in that game against Brighton last weekend. It would have been a goal worthy of winning that match, but Spurs conceding deep into stoppage time as they drew 2-2 against Roberto De Zerbi's former club. Ball's on the Spurs left with Jed Spence, a few yards into the Wolves half. And now it's on the Spurs right with Porro. Goes back to Danso, being pressed by Armstrong, so Danso passes back to Antonin Kinski. Starting for a third Premier League match in a row, the Czech goalkeeper. He had a nightmare showing in the Champions League match against Atletico Madrid. 2 howlers leading to 2 goals for Atletico Madrid. Oh, that's a stray pass, and Randall Kolomuani is onto it, takes an early shot, and it flashes wide of Jose Sarr's goal. He should have done better with that, the Frenchman. It was Andre who wanted to pass across to Hugo Bueno, the pair not on the same wavelength, and then Kolomuani collected the ball and from just outside the edge of the box fired the ball towards Jose Sarr's near post, but the ball was a good yard wide from goal. I think he should have really hit the target in that situation. But the signs do look good for Tottenham. They're the ones who have been doing the probing in these opening 12 minutes. It is still 0-0 though between Wolves and Spurs. Hugo Bueno has been tackled by Pedro Porro, and Conor Gallagher collects a loose ball, chips it to Kolomuani, who then plays it inside to Xavi Simons, who helps it left to Jed Spence. Just outside the Wolves box, takes a shot, it's blocked, and then it comes off the referee, Anthony Taylor, so he stops play, much to the outrage of Xavi Simons, who got on to the loose ball, but Anthony Taylor had no choice but to stop play. Such are the rules and regulations. Anyway, a drop ball has now been given to Tottenham. So they'll look to construct another attack. Good through ball to Porro. Crossed it first time, and it needed the intervention of Santiago Bueno to put the ball behind for a corner to Spurs. Jose Sarr did come out and collect it, but he might not have got there, and Dominic Solanke would have been waiting to tap the ball in from less than 6 yards out. More good build-up play from the away side. So Simons is taking this corner on the right-hand side. As I mentioned, Tottenham have scored 14 goals from corners in the Premier League this season. As moves straight off the training ground, which did not work out as was desired by Spurs, as I'm sure you gauged from those ironic jeers. Xavi Simons opting to chip the ball to the edge of the D where Pedro Porro was stood, and then he volleyed the ball well wide and over the goal. Now Wolves are on the attack down their left. It's Hugo Bueno, crosses it first time, and it evades the 3 Wolves teammates inside the box. And that ball should trickle out of play for a Spurs throw, and does. But that's a bit better from the home side. They caught Spurs a bit bare at the back as they built on their left-hand side. Wolves still yet to create a chance in this game. They've actually scored the fewest amount of goals in the Premier League this season, just netting on 24 occasions this season. Spurs on the ball just inside the Wolves half on the Spurs left with Jed Spence. Goes back to Yves Bissouma, starting once again, having been given the nod against Brighton. Ball chipped forward to Randall Kolo Muani, who cushions the ball down with his head, looking for Xavi Simons, but the ball is cleared away. Spurs back in possession. It's Bissouma on the halfway line. Goes left to Spence, up against Pedro Lima. Looks to accelerate past Pedro Lima, and he sort of bustles his way into the Wolves box and just miscontrolled it, and Santiago Bueno hoofs the ball out of play for a Spurs throw. Wolves, minus that brief flirtation at goal as they built on their left-hand side, have been more or less camped in their own half in these opening 15 minutes. Still goalless though at Molineux. And it's still goalless at the London Stadium. West Ham up against Everton. Randall Kolo Muani looking to go down the right and get a cross in. And his cross was blocked by Totti, but must have rebounded off Kolo Muani because Wolves have been awarded a goal kick. Well, Kolo Muani has looked lively so far, and he does go into this game having not scored in his last 6 matches, only scored 1 Premier League goal all season. The Paris Saint-Germain loanee. Dominic Solanke goes down following a collision with Santiago Bueno. Again, I don't think there was enough for any kind of free kick or stoppage in play to be sanctioned by Anthony Taylor. Kolo Muani has the ball on the right flank, tackled, and Wolves have a throw. Andre making the tackle, then force the ball to rebound off the ankles of Kolo Muani. Hugo Bueno throws the ball down the line, met by a Tottenham head. Bentancur with a loose pass straight to Wolves wing-back Pedro Lima. Good footwork by Totti to get away from Colomwani and Bentancur. And he plays a pass inside to Rodrigo Gomez, who goes back to João Gomez, who rides a challenge of Solanke and passes the ball out left to Hugo Bueno. Now, Mateus Manu, I've not seen a lot of him, and he tries a through ball to Adam Armstrong. But that pass is intercepted by Kevin Danso. And Tottenham are back on the ball. Ibasuma is being closed down, though, by Rodrigo Gomez. But the Mali international does very well to get away from him and play a pass inside. Now Xavi Simons has the ball in some space. Plays a pass down the left channel to Jed Spence, but it's just a bit too firm, so Jose Sarr is off his line and picks up the ball. Wolves building down their left. Hugo Bueno goes back to Totti. I mentioned Wolves being the lowest scorers in the Premier League this season. There have been 17 matches this season where they failed to find the net, which is more than any other team. So coming up to 20 minutes, it's Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. Tottenham certainly looking the better side so far. They had a faint penalty appeal turned down early on, and Randall Colomwani had a half chance as he fired an effort from the edge of the box, which flashed wide of Jose Sarr's near post. I think Colomwani should have done better, though. Should have got it on target. And Wolves resuming their position of being camped inside their own half, letting Tottenham have plenty of possession. And a bad pass forward by Basuma to Jed Spence, and it's a throw-in to Wolves deep into their own half. Pedro Lima is taking this throw. I think he's stolen a few yards forward, as many players do when they get a throw-in. A little sloppy from Bentancur, but he gets off the hook as Rodrigo Gomez was unable to control his loose pass. There's Pedro Porro on the Spurs right, got support from Colomwani, instead goes back to Conor Gallagher. Now Mickey van der Ven has the ball in the centre circle, pops it off to Yves Bissouma. Now Xavi Simons in a central area, caresses the ball right to Randall Colomwani, crosses it early, headed away by Santiago Bueno, and then Hugo Bueno helps the ball out for a Spurs throw. It's on their right-hand side, more or less in line with the edge of Wolves' box. Conor Gallagher opting to go backwards as he took the throw-in. Now Jed Spence wins a 50-50 against Rodrigo Gomez and passes to Danso. Now Conor Gallagher. Dominic Solanke raising his hand, asking for an early cross. Gallagher opting not to do that. Passes the ball back to Pedro Porro. Well, it's a good one-touch play between Simons and Randall Colomwani, but a good challenge. Spurs' attack is still alive. Wolves rather scrappily get the ball away from danger. Andre passes the ball forward to Adam Armstrong. And now Wolves will look to start an attack. Matt Doherty chips the ball forward to Rodrigo Gomez. well marshalled by Van der Ven, but Gomez does manage to win his team a throw-in about midway into the Tottenham half. You just get a sense that Wolves don't really believe that they can hurt this Tottenham defence when they get forward and beyond that halfway line. Free kick to Spurs. Solanke tripped by Matt Doherty on the left flank, just inside the Wolves half. The free kick is taken short. Pedro Porro has the ball in the right of central area. Now it's wide on the right with Kolo Muani. Spurs seeing plenty of the ball in these opening 24 minutes. Game is still goalless though. Wolves seem really rather content just to plod along and wait for Spurs to make a mistake in possession. Still on the ball, the away side. Here's Randall Kolo Muani. Goes down the line to Pedro Porro. And then his pass is loose and the ball is cleared away. The Spurs do have it back near the halfway line. Although this could be a pretty needless throw-in for them to concede. Loose pass by Kevin Danso, however, Yves Bissouma races out to the left to prevent the ball from going out of play. Spurs have actually been better away from home. They've won 5 games in the Premier League on the road this season, and they've won just twice in the league at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. One of those wins was on the opening weekend, beating Burnley, and the last time they won in the Premier League was in early December. Kolo Muani is tripped over by Hugo Bueno. Free kick to Tottenham, just inside the Wolves half. As I mentioned, Tottenham so it's Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. Tottenham have certainly been the better team so far. Yet to create a really meaningful opportunity though. That's a bad pass by Kolo Muani to Andre. Pokes the ball back to Totti. And now Jose Sarr has it. And goes to Matt Doherty. Didn't really work out for Doherty when he was playing for Spurs, joining them in the summer of 2020. And was moved on at the beginning of 2023, although he landed at Atletico Madrid, so it's not too bad a place to end up when you haven't really had it all your own way at Tottenham. Wolves have themselves a corner, their first of the afternoon. Pretty innocuous pass played down the right channel to Adam Armstrong, who, as he turned on the ball, just played it off Kevin Danso, who was stood right by him, to earn a pretty cheap corner for the home side. The likes of Totti and Santiago Bueno, they're inside the Spurs box. Spurs have conceded 5 goals from corners this season. Ball's going to be swung in. No, it's not. It's going to be taken short by Rodrigo Gomez to Lima. Now the ball is dinked into the middle. Here's Bueno, is headed away, and there's a volley from Rodrigo Gomez, which is blocked at point-blank range by Dominic Solanke, of all people. Pretty vital block, but now he's lost the ball, and Wolves are on the attack, and they've got another corner. Crossed by Joao Gomez, comes off Pedro Porro. Well, that wasn't so good from Solanke to lose the ball, but it was a pretty vital block from him, because I think that ball would have been destined for the top corner. So another corner for Wolves. Rodrigo Gomez may swing it in this time. He does so. Headed more up than out by Solanke. Simons tries to boot it away. Doesn't really catch it, but fortunately for him, it lands at Randall Kolo Muani. Then a long ball is played towards Randall Kolo Muani, and Jose Sarr off his goal line. Perhaps didn't anticipate that the ball wouldn't skid towards him, so there was a bit of a uncomfortable moment where he just retreated back and kicked the ball into his box, so then he could proceed to pick it up before Kolo Muani could threaten him. Lombard played forward to Rodrigo Gomez. Doesn't have a lot of accuracy, so Spurs have a throw. Rob Edwards certainly dishing out plenty of instructions to his players. Edwards actually encountered what has so far been his biggest Premier League win as a manager against Roberto De Zerbi. Edwards is Luton Town beating Brighton 4-0 in January 2024. Spurs on the attack down their left with Solanke. He's inside the Wolves box. He plays the ball back to Rodrigo Bentancur, who then kicks it to Xavi Simons, and Simons then gets the ball on the edge of the box, and his effort is wide, comfortably wide. He is calling for a corner, but I think he was just a bit off balance, the Netherlands international, as he tried to steer the ball into the bottom right-hand corner of goal. But Spurs looking pretty menacing as they make their way forward. Half an hour played, still Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. But it's just that moment in the final third where they're just lacking. And I think Roberto De Zerbi will be pretty pleased with the way his team have been, apart from in the final third. Jed Spence has the ball just inside the Wolves half. Sidesteps Lima as he cuts inside and goes right to Pedro Porro. Kolo Muani gives the ball away, and Wolves will look to counter, although João Gomez has stopped in his tracks, but he does brilliantly to pirouette away from Xavi Simons in the middle of the park. Mateus Mane ran into a cul-de-sac and is tackled by a combination of Conor Gallagher and Pedro Porro. Xavi Simons goes down after a collision with Rodrigo Gomez. Anthony Taylor was stood right by him and said no free kick, and now Wolves have been given a free kick, and Xavi Simons is right in the face of Anthony Taylor. He's got to be a bit careful, Spurs is number 7. Looking at a replay of that incident now. There was definitely a foul on João Gomez by Dominic Solanke to give Wolves the free kick. I think Simons knew that some contact was on the way, so he just stunted his run ever so slightly, waited for the contact and expected the free kick, which was not forthcoming. Well, Pedro Porro tucked in field and just passes to centre-back Mickey van der Ven. Spurs' main defensive leader, with club captain Christian Romero sidelined for the rest of the season and possibly the World Cup, although Tortor understands Romero should be fit to represent Argentina by the time the tournament starts. There's even some suggestion that Romero could be fit for the final game of the season for Spurs. They play host to Everton, and who knows what will be at stake on that afternoon. Spurs looking to dig themselves out of relegation trouble. They're on the attack. Here's Basuma. Now Xavi Simons on the edge of the Wolves box. Goes back to Kevin Danso, calls for a shot. Instead he goes right to Porro. And then he crosses the ball. It's blocked by the first man in Hugo Bueno. And there's a volley by Porro. Wasn't goal bound. It was controlled well. Spurs still in possession. Here's Bissouma. Looks to accelerate away from Joao Gomez. It's a throw-in to the away side. Still 0-0 between West Ham and Everton. So as things stand, Spurs are still in the relegation zone, 2 points behind 17th place West Ham. In the other 3 o'clock game, Liverpool versus Crystal Palace, that is also goalless. There was a game earlier today, Fulham beating Aston Villa by a 0-0. And Conor Gallagher has pinched the ball off Totti and plays it inside to Solanke. It's a tight angle, and then he's penalised for a trip on Santiago Bueno. Xavi Simons lashes the ball into the Wolves net, but Anthony Taylor had blown his whistle a good few seconds before that happened. There was also a Premier League match on Friday. Nottingham Forest all but getting themselves out of relegation trouble, winning 5-0 away at Sunderland. Forest scored 4 goals in a 20-minute period in the first half. A really good display from them. And Spurs have looked okay as well. As I said, they're just lacking something in that final third. And it's a throw-in to the away side. Van de Ven goes back to Rodrigo Bentancur. Scored in a 2-2 draw at home to Wolves last season, the Uruguay international. Oh, bad pass outright to Randall Kolo Muani. Throw-in to the home side. Hugo Bueno throws it to the nearest man, inside to Joao Gomez. And now Wolves have the ball in some space. It's with Matt Doherty. Got some support in Pedro Lima on the right. Instead, he goes inside to Joao Gomez, and he just about evades the challenge of Conor Gallagher. That would have been problems for Wolves had he lost the ball. Here's Mateus Mane on the left flank. We've really not seen a lot of him in this game. Almost burst onto the scene in January with a memorable performance in a 3-0 win at home to West Ham at the start of January. That's a good pass inside to Adam Armstrong, who has just been forced left by Mickey van der Ven. But Armstrong has been flagged offside anyway. Armstrong signing late in the winter transfer window. Is that offside? Well, the attack didn't amount to anything, so I suppose it doesn't really matter, but certainly very tight. Yeah, as I was saying, Armstrong signing from Championship club Southampton, who are well in the hunt for promotion to the Premier League. This afternoon, Southampton have a FA Cup semi-final date with Manchester City at Wembley. That game kicks off a few minutes after this game finishes. We are encountering a stoppage in play. Dominic Solanke is down on the ground, and just seeing him holding the back of his left leg. So Richarlison is warming up on the touchline and not even wearing his tracksuit top. He's certainly very confident that he's going to come on the field of play. Solanke might have been hurt contesting a ball against Joao Gomez, but there was certainly no contact between Solanke and him. So Might have been an injury picked up of his own accord, and well, you know, of hamstrings, that can be at least a few weeks. This would be a big blow for Roberto De Zerbi if he was to not have Solanke at his disposal at what is a very crucial period of the season and a very crucial period in the history of Tottenham Hotspur. Getting relegated just cannot be an option for them, really. This is a team that was in the Champions League final 7 years ago. They won the Europa League last season, albeit they had a poor league campaign last term, finishing 17th, but it was a comfortable 17th. The relegation spots have been more or less decided, certainly at this stage last season. And yeah, Richarlison is going to come on to replace Solanke. There's been a goal at Anfield, by the way. Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 0. Goal scored by Alexander Isak. That's his first Premier League goal at Anfield as a Liverpool player. Still 0-0 between West Ham and Everton. And it's 0-0 between Wolves and Tottenham as we approach the final 5 minutes of the opening 45. But Spurs forced to make a change that they certainly wouldn't have wanted to make at this stage. Solanke going off with what looks like a hamstring injury, and on in his place is Richarlison. So play has now resumed. Kinski plays his goal kick to Richarlison, who gets his first touch of the game, gets his second touch and is tackled by João Gomez. Richarlison trying to rob the ball off him, but good footwork by the Wolves midfielder to get away from him. Oh, he's tackled though by Gallagher on the halfway line. Early pass played to Richarlison, too far in front of him. And now Totti plays the ball out left to Hugo Bueno, can't control it, but he does get a throw-in just inside the Spurs half on the Wolves left. Still waiting for Hugo Bueno to take that throw. He has now taken it and he goes back to Totti. I think the fact that Bueno went backwards with that throw in a relatively promising position says that Wolves will be more than content to go in level at half-time. We've seen next to nothing from them in an attacking sense. They did almost take the lead though when Rodrigo Gomez had a volley which I think was heading for the top corner, blocked by Solanke. Spurs just divering as they try to play the ball out of Wolves' box. And now here's Hugo Bueno, goes to the left flank where Mane is. Good step over to get away from Conor Gallagher, and then he tries to get round Pedro Porro. That's won a corner. That's good work from the teenager. Pedro Porro looking outraged with the referee. He certainly kicked the ball behind for a corner, but I think Porro feels that he was fouled by Mane as he tried to get through him. So corner on the Wolves left, flicked on and over all of the cluster of Wolves players around the 6-yard box. It was Adam Armstrong at the near post who got there first as Mane delivered the ball in, but the header from Armstrong had just a bit too much height and loop, and it's a goal kick for Tottenham. Still 0-0. 2 minutes of the opening 45 to go. Probably have at least a couple of minutes of stoppage time on account of that injury for Dominic Solanke a short time ago. Kevin Danso chips the ball out left to Simons, 10 yards into the Wolves half. Danso has the ball again. And he decides to go across to Van de Ven under some pressure from Mane. I think I can hear some whistles in the crowd. No doubt from the Wolves fans just wanting half-time to come along. Mickey van der Ven has the ball now. Well, Wolves have only kept 4 clean sheets in the Premier League this season. So getting in 0-0 at half-time or perhaps full-time would be considered a very good result for them. Cross by Pedro Porro is deflected and it's an easy gather for Jose Sarr. We are in the final minute of the opening 45. It's a long ball played towards Rodrigo Gomez, but nowhere near him. Straight to the Spurs keeper, Kinski. Can Spurs create one more opening before the referee blows for half-time? Here's Simons on the left, just inside the Wolves half. Now Conor Gallagher passes right to Kolomuani. Got support from Pedro Porro. Uses him. Tries to play a 1-2 with the Spaniard. 3 added minutes of stoppage time. Wolves somewhat clear the ball away. And as Spurs get it back, Pedro Porro, as he tries to accelerate past Hugo Bueno, can only put the ball behind for a goal kick. De Zerbi not too happy at that passage of play. I'm not too sure what he wanted from Porro, but he clearly didn't want him to do what he just did. Should also mention that we've got live commentary of Arsenal's showdown at home to Newcastle. That kicks off at 5:30 p.m. UK time. Richarlison did well to control a high pass, but he was tackled by Santiago Bueno. Matheus Mane plays a long ball back off his back. That was surely not intentional from him. But Wolves concede possession. Here's Basuma. Rodrigo Bentancur passes left to Spence. Now Simons returns the ball to Spence, who just can't control the ball and get it out of his feet, and that allows João Gomez to tackle him and then get away from Xavi Simons. He goes down following a shoulder-to-shoulder. Referee says play on. Yves Bissouma loses possession. Oh, it's all getting a bit scrappy, and then a firm challenge on Yves Bissouma by Andre. Yves Bissouma is down on the ground, writhing in pain. Plenty of Spurs players are surrounding Anthony Taylor. And it's a firm challenge by Andre. Both feet do go in, but he does make contact with the ball with just 1 foot. The referee's got to really think about this. It's a yellow card for Andre. I think that's good refereeing from Anthony Taylor. Although Andre certainly didn't see it that way. I'm just looking at a replay of the incident now. There was a 50-50 ball there to be won. It wasn't helped that Yves Bissouma actually slipped over as both players contested the ball. So that made, I guess, Andre's challenge look worse than it is. Bissouma is down, receiving some treatment. I think he will be okay to carry on. It's just a sore one for him to take. I think what also helped Andre's case was he did win the ball first. There was just a little bit left on Bissouma on the follow-through, but Anthony Taylor has handled that situation well. I also saw a replay of Rob Edwards, the Wolves manager, just put his hands on his head as that challenge went in. He was fearing the worst. So we have now played 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half, but we might have to play just 1 more minute once play resumes. Bissouma is now back on his feet. Anthony Taylor just making sure that he's okay. As I said, would have been very sore at the time, but I'm sure he is A-okay now. So free kick to Tottenham in the centre circle. This is an opportunity for Spurs to break the deadlock right before half-time. Plenty of boos around Molineux. Anyway, free kick taken short. Poro goes to Spence, and Spence returns it to him. Played 5 minutes of stoppage time. Only 3 were allotted, but we did have that stoppage for Yves Bissouma. Spurs certainly taking their time as they edge their way towards the Wolves box. Ball's now in the Wolves box. Headed out left to Spence, and then Bentancur. And there is half-time. Randall Kolo Muani had a half chance as his effort from the edge of the box flashed wide of goal. But Wolves, even though they've offered very little going forward, Rodrigo Gomez had what looked to be a goal-bound volley blocked by Dominic Solanke, and then Solanke then went off with what appears to be a hamstring injury. And then right before half-time, Wolves midfielder Andre may have had his heart in his mouth as he was penalised for a challenge on Yves Bissouma. It was a firm one, but Andre only earning a yellow card. I think it was the correct decision by Anthony Taylor. And well, with that, I'm going to take a short break, and just under 15 minutes, I'll be back for second half commentary of Wolves. And I'll hand Gomez, which was well blocked by Dominic Solanke. But apart from that, Wolves haven't really laid a glove on this Spurs defence, but they have an opportunity. They have actually been awarded a free kick on the left-hand side. It's swung in now. Oh, it's flicked on by Adam Armstrong, and one or two calls for a handball, only really by one Wolves player in Totti. It is a corner, though, to the home side. Armstrong got the flick on, and it was blocked with the midriff of Richarlison, of all people. I think that would have spelled serious trouble for Spurs if Richarlison didn't make that block. Corner comes in, and Spurs get the ball away. And then a hopeful ball played forward by Pedro Lima goes straight out of play for a goal kick. No changes made by Wolves at the start of this second half. And the home side are in possession with Totti. Was forced to go back to Sarr. And now Spurs get their feet on the ball. Matis Tel has his first touch of the game, right by the byline on the right flank. And then he just overran the ball out of play for a throw-in. Tel certainly didn't see it that way. As he turned back to the referee's assistant and barked whatever it is he said, but I'm sure it was something along the lines of, "I kept that ball in play." Tel celebrates his 21st birthday on Monday as he pings across in looking for Richarlison, but it was too close to Jose Sarr, who then caught the ball. I'm hearing that West Ham may have the lead at home to Everton. I will confirm that to you in due course, but if that is the case, then that is bad news for Tottenham. At the start of play, 2 points behind the Hammers, who are in 17th spot in the table. Yves Bissouma trying to set Jed Spence away on the left side, but Bissouma's pass was way too far in front of him. So a goal kick to Wolves. Very slow start made to this second half. Tottenham did play pretty well in the first half. They looked good in possession, but it's just when they got into that final third, they didn't really have many ideas. As for the scores in the other Premier League games, Liverpool 2, Crystal Palace 0. And it is West Ham 1, Everton 0. Wolves just on the attack. Here's João Gomez, goes right to Pedro Lima. Good 1-2 between him and Gomez. His cross in is headed away, but then Yves Bissouma makes a hash of his pass forward. And it's a throw in to Wolves in an attacking area on their right-hand side. Earlier today, Fulham beat Aston Villa by 1-0. And about half an hour after this game finishes, we'll have live commentary of Arsenal versus Newcastle. On Friday, Nottingham Forest won 5-0 at Sunderland. Throw-in comes in from Pedro Lima, headed away. So looking at the live Premier League table, as things stand, Spurs remain in the relegation zone and are 4 points off safety. In Spurs' next game, they have to go to Aston Villa, while West Ham, they travel to Brentford. Here's Xavi Simons, who's in. Oh, and what? That is a massive opportunity for Spurs. It came out of nowhere, really. A lovely crossfield pass by Pedro Porro to Simons on the left. He turned inside Matt Doherty, but then at the crucial moment got his foot under the ball and over the bar. Easily Tottenham's best chance in this game, and Xavi Simons had his head in his hands immediately after he spurned that opportunity. That could be a vital moment for the North Londoners in their push to win this relegation dogfight. Now Wolves are on the attack. Ball sprayed out right to Rodrigo Gomez. I think we're going to have a free kick for the home side. Anthony Taylor spotting a late challenge. But yeah, just going back to that chance for Xavi Simons, on current form, you would have expected him to bury it. And Tottenham looking to build, but it was a pass forward to Richarlison, which is just a bit loose, and Jose Sarr wanted a bit too much time on the ball, but just about managed to flick away from Richarlison. But it was uncomfortable from a Wolves perspective. Now Wolves are on the attack with Pedro Lima. Got support from Rodrigo Gomez out on the right. Waiting for reinforcements to arrive. He plays a bit of keep ball with Joao Gomez. Well, Wolves have certainly looked more bright in the second half. They are more than content just to get behind the ball in the first half. Matheus Mane loses the ball. Now Spurs have it in the centre circle. Gallagher plays it forward to Richarlison, all alone up top, and attempts a pretty audacious effort at goal, and it did not have the desired effect. Richarlison blazing the ball well over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. You can see a few Spurs fans looking at their phones. News of West Ham's goal has clearly reached them, and that will only add to the angst. Did I see Roberto De Zerbi telling James Maddison to get warmed up? I'm sure in an ideal world he wouldn't have used the player who sustained a gut-wrenching ACL injury during a pre-season match last July. So he's not played at all for Spurs this campaign, but they're in some trouble. Oh, and that's clearly a foul on Mane by Pedro Porro. Free kick to Wolves just outside the Spurs box. It's about 10 yards away from the byline where the foul took place. And it was just a coming together of feet. Clearly a foul by Porro, but he didn't intend to do that to Mane. There's a bit of handbags going on. Mickey van der Ven and Xavi Simons are involved. Hugo Bueno in the thick of it as well. A bit more going on. Now Santiago Bueno. Anthony Taylor's just leaving them to it. Doesn't feel compelled to break anything up. So 10 minutes into the second half. Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. Tottenham right now 4 points off safety because West Ham are 1-0 up at home to Everton. And Wolves have a free kick in a dangerous area. It's Matheus Mane who's stood over the ball. I'm sure he's just going to whip this into the corridor of uncertainty. Tottenham have conceded a few from set pieces this season. Free kick is taken straight into the wall, ricochets to Hugo Bueno, who hoists the ball in the air, and Antonin Kinski confidently strides off his goal line to make the catch and boot the ball outright to Simons. That's a great pass by the Spurs goalkeeper, and Simons goes down following a challenge by Hugo Bueno, but the referee nor his assistant are interested. Simons is down, clutching his knee. If this is an injury for the Dutchman, that would be a huge problem. Oh, and he does slightly jar it. He wasn't looking for a free kick, I don't think, but this could be really bad news for Spurs. Pedro Porro, by the way, picked up a yellow card after that foul and the afters after it. Hugo Bueno also picking up a yellow. Xavi Simons is receiving some treatment right on the byline, and Spurs are preparing to make a double change. João Palhinha and Lucas Bergvall are ready and waiting to come on. This is a really concerning sight. As I mentioned a little earlier, Simons is Spurs' form player. Prior to today, involved in 4 goals in his last 2 starts. Well, it should be noted, all 5 goals he's scored in all competitions for the club have come at home. Still encountering this stoppage in play. I'll take you through the scores once again from across the Premier League. It's still Liverpool 2, Crystal Palace 0. Goals scored by Alexander Isak and Andy Robertson. At the London Stadium, it's West Ham 1, Everton 0. Goals scored by Thomas Souček. Here at Molineux, of course, it's Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. A little earlier on Saturday, Fulham beating Aston Villa by a goal to 0. Ryan Sessegnon with the winning goal in the first half. On Friday night, there was a game at the Stadium of Light, and it was delight for Nottingham Forest. They won 5-0 to, you'd think, pretty much guarantee their position in the Premier League next season. A Trey Hume own goal, Chris Wood's goal, Morgan Gibbs-White, Igor Jesus and Elliot Anderson right at the end. The goal scorers for Nottingham Forest, and we'll have live commentary of Arsenal versus Newcastle. That kicks off at 5:30 p.m. UK time. Also have live commentary on Monday, where Manchester United entertain Brentford at Old Trafford. 8 p.m. UK time kickoff. Xavi Simons is at least back on his feet, and he's going to get some strapping around that right knee, so I think they're just going to give him a run out for a few minutes to see if he can carry on. Play has resumed, approaching the hour mark. Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. Big chance came on 51 minutes for the man who is receiving treatment, Xavi Simons. Oh, it's a chance for Wolves, and it's Mane, and he heads it over. Difficult chance for the winger. There was initially a deep cross by Hugo Bueno, which found its way to Pedro Lima at the back post. He then helped it back into the middle on the volley, and at height, Matheus Mane was unable to get the ball down and head it towards the Spurs goal. And Simons, I think he's going to have to come off. He's receiving treatment once again down on the ground off the pitch. There is no way he can carry on playing this game. So João Palhinha and Lucas Bergvall will come on. I don't know who the other player for Spurs coming off will be. This will be very, very worrying on the Spurs bench. Xavi Simons looks absolutely crestfallen because, well, the stretcher's coming out now. Well, his race has certainly run today, and is it run for the rest of the season? If it is, that's a hammer blow for Spurs. Yves Bissouma is the other player who's going to come off. Well, Spurs do need a goal. And Lucas Bergvall is a bit more attack-minded, but it certainly wouldn't have been in the plan to take off the £52 million signing, Xavi Simons, but he's going to be stretchered off the field of play. Well, this second half has been rather stop-start. Big chance fell to Simons earlier on. He cut inside the box and ballooned the ball over the crossbar. It is a goal kick to Tottenham. Kinski goes long. Palhinha gets his first touch on the ball as he flicks it on to Bergvall for his first touch on the ball. Throw in to Wolves. Jed Spence trying to play a 1-2 with Bergvall. He couldn't quite get on to the return pass. Wolves have the ball in the centre circle. Adam Armstrong, who's really had to feed off scraps so far in this game, winning a free kick. Just rushed into by Kevin Danso. Wolves take the free kick quickly. A bit too quickly for Hugo Bueno. Oh, that's a loose touch by Pedro Porro as he received a very simple pass on the right flank. And it's a throw-in to Wolves. Simons is finally being escorted away on that stretcher. That really doesn't look good for Spurs. They're on the ball with Conor Gallagher. Goes out right to Matis Tel, who wins a throw-in. But now he's gone down on the ground. Again, there was no contact between him and Hugo Bueno, but I think Tell just landed a bit awkwardly on the ground. He is soldiering on as play continues. Dink ball forward to Richarlison is headed away by Santiago Bueno. Lucas Bergvall gets onto the second ball. Tell is back on his feet and moving a bit better. There's a long pass played forward to Adam Armstrong. Oh, it's poor from Kevin Danso, and Kinski is off his line, palms the ball away to Mane, surely taken down by Bentancur. Yep, free kick to Wolves. About 30 yards from goal. Well, that was nearly a clumsy goal conceded by Spurs. Just a hopeful ball over the top by Santiago Bueno to the onrushing Adam Armstrong. Kevin Danso nodded the ball back to Antonin Kinski. Didn't quite get it right, but fortunately for Danso, Kinski managed to come out and punch the ball away. And then Matthias Mane got onto the loose ball and was tripped over by Bentancur. Clearly a free kick. Bentancur receiving a yellow card for his troubles. So it's Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. Coming up to 66 minutes. Hugo Bueno and Matheus Mane stood over the ball. It's struck by Hugo Bueno and it almost dips into the top corner. I think Kinski had it covered. There was a curling effort with the left foot of Hugo Bueno, and well, looking at a replay, it was not quite as close as it first seemed. And Wolves will surely feel there's something there for them, given that they've managed to hold out Spurs for this long, and also Xavi Simons and Dominic Solanke hobbling off with injuries in this game. Now Kevin Danso has the ball on the halfway line, chips it forward to Jed Spence inside the Wolves box, forced wide though, and passes back to Bentancur, who returns it to Jed Spence, tries to get away from João Neves, but doesn't get away from Pedro Lima, who does very well there to also win his team a throw-in midway into the Wolves half. Well, Rob Edwards was saying during his Wolves 0, Tottenham 0, just on Pedro Lima, Rob Edwards was speaking very highly of him. Tottenham on the attack with Matis Tel. Takes a shot from distance, it's blocked by Santiago Bueno, behind for a corner to Tottenham. Ball striking Santiago Bueno and just needed a minute to recover. Struck the inside of his thigh. So Spurs corner on the right. They have been productive from corners, as I said a little earlier. 14 goals from corners in the Premier League this season. Maybe they'll be the new set-piece FC if they can stay up this season. They do need a win really today to just keep it alive. The game is currently goalless. Porro swings the ball in. It's Bentancur, good save by Jose Sarr. And an offside flag has been raised, so maybe that goal wouldn't have counted had it gone in, but full marks to Jose Sarr for getting down to his left to keep the ball out. And yeah, it was Conor Gallagher who was flagged offside on the rebound. So Bentancur's effort would have counted, you'd think. That's the first real meaningful save the Wolves stopper has had to make. He's had to wait 69 minutes to be called into action. There might be a bit of an inquest in the Wolves team as to how Bentancur was allowed to make that header pretty uncontested. Totti has the ball in an uncomfortable area of the pitch. He does well to dig out a clearance and find Matheus Mane. And Wolves now have a throw-in. Well, they're going to make a change. I think that's Tolu Orokodare who's about to come on. Rob Edwards confirming that both Orokodare and Matheus Mane had a fight in the dressing room a couple of weeks ago. It also understands that Orokodare is going to leave the club at the end of the season. as he is understood to have been the aggressor in that confrontation with Mane. Rodrigo Gomez is making way. And it is Arokodare who's coming on, looking to team up with Mane. Because there is certainly scope for Wolves to pull off a shock victory. They've looked far more threatening in the second half than they had in the first. Tottenham have had two big chances in the second half though. Xavi Simons ballooning the ball over the bar from just over 6 yards out, and just a moment ago Rodrigo Bentancur's header from a corner was well saved by Jose Sarr. Here's Richarlison, dropped deep on the halfway line, dispossessed by João Gomez, and Wolves try to start an attack. And Wolves have a throw on their right-hand side. Lima goes to Gomez, João Gomez that is. And we're hearing the Wolves fans break into some more song. Late challenge by Jed Spence on Lima. Free kick to the home side, just inside the Spurs half. Yeah, Spence just about managing to prevent his foot from following through. Probably would have been a red card had he followed through on Lima, as his studs would have scraped round the side of his legs. So free kick to Wolves, 73 minutes played, still 0-0 between Wolves and Tottenham. Free kick taken by the man who won it in Lima. Tries to swing it in towards the edge of the box, but headed away. And Spurs have it back with their left back today. Spence goes back to Kinski, who gets good contact on that clearance. On his weaker left foot, Richarlison goes down holding his head after losing an aerial duel to Matt Doherty. Bit of a loose pass to Doherty, who manages to poke the ball towards Totti, but he's caught by Conor Gallagher. Free kick to Wolves. I wonder if Anthony Taylor will just give Gallagher a talking to rather than brandish a yellow card. It was a genuine attempt to win the ball, but he didn't half clatter into Doherty, so I'm not sure that's a yellow card personally, but Gallagher has been given one anyway. So Gallagher is the second Spurs player to earn a yellow card. Pedro Porro, the other one. Still 1-0 to West Ham at the London Stadium. So as things stand, Tottenham remain in the relegation zone, but crucially will be 4 points off safety if things stay as they are. Tottenham's next match away at Aston Villa, Champions League chasing Aston Villa. Wolves on the attack. Have the ball on their left with Hugo Bueno. Good step overs from him, and the ball flicked on to Arokodare, who can't control the ball, and it then just drifts over to Antonin Kinski, who then hoofs the ball long looking for Tell. Ball rebounds off his shoulder and out for a throw-in. Tell hasn't really settled in to this game. He came on at the start of this second half for Randall Kolo Muanu, who, in my opinion, played quite well in the first half. He caused a few problems for the Wolves defence, but perhaps there was an injury he may have picked up in the first half, but I would question Roberto De Zerbi's decision if that was a tactical move. Mickey van der Ven has the ball on the halfway line, goes across to Kevin Danso. Now Matis Tel dinks the ball down the line to Porro, who then attempted to cross it, but it's blocked by Hugo Bueno. Danso's going to take this throw in, the centre back. Looks like he's going to bowl this into the middle. He does so. A bit of miscommunication between Sarr and Arokodare. Arokodare got his head onto the ball. Another cross comes in. This time Arokodare leaves it to Jose Sarr, who catches the ball and then lands a bit awkwardly. I think Wolves have been awarded a free kick. Richarlison ever so slightly backed in to Jose Sarr. Well, what will be going through the head of Roberto De Zerbi? It's his third game in charge of Spurs. First one he lost away at Sunderland, and his second one last weekend looked certain to get the win against Brighton. They were 2-1 up until the final moments of stoppage time. And Spurs played out a 2-2 draw with the Seagulls. 12 minutes of normal time to go. Wolves 0, Tottenham 0. João Palhinha has lost the ball, and there's a shot taken by Hugo Bueno, blocked by Kevin Danso. Wolves will look to come again. Good play by Santiago Bueno to Mateus Mane, crosses it in, and it's Adam Armstrong with the header over the bar. Just couldn't quite arch his neck to direct the ball on target. The small striker scored 1 goal for Wolves. He did score 11 goals in the Championship at Southampton, but it was a fairly difficult chance for him. Spurs goalkeeper Kinski plays a ball out left to Spence, who just about wins an aerial duel with Pedro Lima. Both players didn't know where the ball was, and Richarlison marooned over to the left to try and make something happen. Spurs now building on their right with Pedro Porro. That's a good cross. It's a great header by Matt Doherty, because Richarlison was right behind him waiting to put the ball in the back of the net. Attack is still alive for Tottenham. There's Jed Spence on 2 calls for offside, and the flag has eventually been raised. What a vital intervention from Matt Doherty. It was a menacing cross from the right by Pedro Porro. He was waiting for Richarlison to just get any kind of contact on the ball, but Doherty just took it away from him with a faint flick on, which completely changed the flight of the ball. And De Zerbi down on his knees on the touchline as another hint of an opportunity goes awry for Spurs. Still 1-0 to West Ham against Everton. Spurs 4 points off safety right now. Or if they can get a win, then it will at least be as you were. Here's Matis Tel, good play from him to get away from Hugo Bueno. He wins Spurs a corner on that right-hand side. I think the referee just wants to have a word with a couple of the players. There's a whole group of them on the edge, or near enough the edge of the box. The corner now comes in. It's Richarlison. He'll take a shot, and it's turned in! It's João Palhinha! Well, on a day where Spurs need to win, they are winning with just over 8 minutes to go of the 90. It's a goal from an unlikely source in João Palhinha. It's Wolves 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. It was a far from pretty goal, but again, Spurs successful with the corner kicks. And João Palhinha, he got the late equaliser in the reverse fixture. It was a corner which was delivered in. Richarlison tried to head it, didn't manage to do it. He then reacted quickest, threw his left foot at the ball. It was going wide, but there was João Palhinha inside the 6-yard box to turn the ball home. And this could give Tottenham a very vital 3 points in a game they simply must win. And there was a VAR check. I think the goal has been allowed to stand. Well, that is a huge sigh of relief for everyone in the Spurs camp. As I mentioned, West Ham a goal up against Everton. So if Spurs can hold on for their win, they will still be in the relegation zone. But getting a first league win of 2026 can certainly be a good springboard towards a run of good results, which is something which has been seriously lacking this season. Well, it's a great atmosphere at Molineux now from the Spurs fans. It's like the game's been played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's how loud the Spurs fans are. Wolves looking to spoil their party. They have the ball on the halfway line with Matt Doherty. Now here's Pedro Lima on the right-hand side, just cuts in field and pass the ball back to Santiago Bueno. Oh, that's not good from Lima. He just tripped himself up and put the ball behind for a Spurs goal kick. Approaching 85 minutes, Wolves 0, Tottenham 1. Hee-Chan Hwang has come on. He's replaced the defender Matt Doherty. And there could be more good news for Tottenham. I'm getting word of an equaliser for Everton at the London Stadium. Pedro Lima also coming off, Jackson Chachua replacing him. And a few of the Tottenham fans are getting word of this equaliser at the London Stadium, and that changes everything. If that goal for Everton does stand, then Tottenham will move out of the relegation zone. if they can hold on for this win. Here's Matis Tel. That's Pedro Porro collect the ball, and he's raced into the Wolves box. His cross is deflected, palmed away by Jose Sarr. Matis Tel picks up the loose ball. He's just forced outside the Wolves box. Goes back to Gallagher. There was good work down that right flank between Tel and Porro. Porro raced away down that right-hand side. And yeah, there's confirmation. West Ham 1, Everton 1. And Spurs back in the sanctuary of 17th place. Still some time to go in this game. 87 minutes played, Wolves 0, Tottenham 1. Goal scored by João Palhinha on 82 minutes. Wolves have a throw-in in their own half on their left-hand side. Hugo Bueno, who has had a pretty good game today. Another throw-in for Wolves. Bueno playing the ball off Tel. Tottenham are going to look to squeeze in. Another substitution. Radu Dragushin is ready and waiting. I'm sure that will be one of Spurs' attacking players. The equalising goal, by the way, for Everton was scored by Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. Crystal Palace have pulled a goal back at Liverpool. Liverpool 2, Crystal Palace 1. Wolves on the attack. Cross comes in. It's deep and not fully cleared away by Jed Spence. Cross comes in from the right, but it's straight into the midriff of Kinski. Disappointing from Chichua. Wolves on the attack again. Jackson Chichua just cuts in field, then goes right to Hwang. Crosses it. I think that struck the arm of Jed Spence, but referee says play on. It's a cross that's made its way to Matheus Mane. Was he pulled back by Conor Gallagher? Anthony Taylor, who was right by the two players, didn't think so. A minute to go of the 90. Tottenham 1-0 up. And there may well have been another goal at the London Stadium. I'll let you know which way it's gone once this attack fizzles out. Throw into Wolves taken by Chichua. Now João Gomez. And Hugo Bueno helps on out left to Matheus Mane. Cuts in field, takes a shot well over the crossbar. And now we just wait to see how much stoppage time there is at Molineux. And as for that goal at the London Stadium, West Ham have retaken the lead. It's Callum Wilson in stoppage time. So that changes things again. Tottenham will remain in the relegation zone even if they win this game. But just getting their first league win of 2026 will surely do this group of players the world of good. Conor Gallagher is the man who's going to come off, and Radu Dragushin on in place of him. Goal kick taken by Kinski, trying to find the furthest man forward in Richarlison, but Wolves managed to sweep things up, and they're building on their right with Hwang. Tries to play a pass forward to Adam Armstrong. That is cut out, and now Tottenham are on the attack. Here's Mattis Tell, midway into the Wolves half. Not got many options, Tell. And he ran into a blind alley, and then he's penalised for a foul on Andre. So free kick to Wolves. 7 minutes of stoppage time allotted. We're coming up to 2 minutes played. Spurs have the ball back, and Tell has won a free kick. João Gomez penalised for pulling his shirt. I'm just looking at a replay of that Spurs goal. Trauplinia just about played onside by Matt Doherty as he turned in Richarlison's scrambled left-footed effort. Fourth Premier League goal of the season for Polinia, as well as scoring the equaliser in the reverse fixture, also scoring against Manchester City and Bournemouth. So 3 minutes of stoppage time have been played, 4 to go. Wolves 0, Tottenham 1. Bentancur tripped over by Hwang. Free kick to the away side, who at this stage are just looking to keep hold of the ball, eat up a bit more time. I'm sure the players won't be aware of West Ham's late heroics, but when you're a player, all you can really do is just focus on yourself and hope things elsewhere take care of themselves. Late change by Wolves. David Moller-Wolfer comes on for Hugo Bueno. Tottenham in possession, although as I say that, they lose the ball. Kevin Danso trying a ball over the top for Richarlison, but can only find the Wolves keeper, Sarr. So will there be one final twist at Molineux? An equaliser for Wolves, considering what the score at West Ham is, would be a huge disaster for Spurs. They're shutting up shop well. However, Lucas Bergvall, travelling with the ball towards the halfway line, wins his team a free kick. João Gomez penalised, and there's a yellow card awarded. I saw some sarcastic applauding by Wolves' number 8. Really needless caution to pick up. So just over a minute and a half of stoppage time to go. It is still 1-0 to Tottenham. Kevin Danso takes this free kick, dinks it forward to Richarlison, who missed the header. So Wolves have 1 more minute to try and get a point from this game. Long ball played forward, but dealt with well by the Spurs substitute Dragushin. And Van der Ven, very cultured on the ball, just giving the ball a good old hoof up the field of play. And Richarlison is trying to create something from nothing, but he's been penalised for a foul on Totti. I think that might have been a bit harsh on the Brazilian forward. But anyway, 30 seconds to go of stoppage time. And here's Matheus Mane, who's fouled by Kevin Danso. He's been put in the referee's notebook. Yellow card for the Austrian. And there's going to be one final chance for the home side. A free kick, a matter of yards outside the edge of the Tottenham box. Well, what an incredible twist this would be if Wolves were to find an equaliser at such a late stage in this game. We have now played over the allotted 7 minutes of stoppage time. West Ham have beaten Everton by 2-1, so no matter what happens at Molineux, Tottenham will still be in the relegation zone at the end of play. But if Wolves were to score here, then it would be a crisis for Spurs. It's a free kick taken, and it's parried away by Kinski. It was João Gomez who curled the ball with his right foot, and the ball was heading for the top right-hand corner of goal, but brilliant play from the Czech goalkeeper. Will there be enough time for this corner to be taken? It's coming in now, headed away by Mickey van der Ven, and there is the end of the game. For the first time since December the 28th, Tottenham Hotspur have won in the Premier League. There are huge celebrations on the pitch among the players and the coaching staff. Tottenham are still in the relegation zone because West Ham beat Everton this afternoon, but you just wonder what that